Do your neighbors judge you when you run around like a madman to the mailbox? Are you spending the last of your paycheck on a book of stamps? Do you find yourself printing form letters at 3 o'clock in the morning? Well, welcome to Autographers Anonymous.
Welcome to Autographers Anonymous, a place where we discuss our addiction to the greatest hobby in the world. Here are your hosts, Andy Summers, Chasen Inc., TTM Troy, Mike the Godfather, David from House of 1,000 Collectibles, and yours truly, Zane Savage. Let's start off with the TTM of the weeks. And the winner is actually Jay. We have a winner. Yes, we had several entries this week. We appreciate it. The prize pool is growing, as you'll soon see. But let's show off Jay's TTM of the week's win. And Jay got back a Jason Alexander signed 1990 Topps card, and it is beautiful. We're all very envious. I'm assuming this is a custom card, not a card actually put out in 1990 by Topps. Actually, it doesn't even have a Topps logo, so you know it's not official Topps. But very cool return, and we had to pick it. And Jerry Stiller passed away this week, so it's fitting that a Seinfeld return wins TTMs of the week, TTM of the weeks. So congratulations to Jay. Jay, you won this week, and you will be put into the pool of winners, and I will explain it this week again. We're going to have all the winners of the TTM of the weeks put into a pool, and the winner of the TTM of the season will win a lot, including a Wayne Gretzky autograph, Bill Russell autograph, Joe Namath autograph, and Nolan Ryan autograph. All those are matte pieces, and there's probably going to be more added later. So if you got a good TTM in the last 2 weeks, go ahead and go to the website and enter, and you'll be possibly winning those prizes, an awesome prize. So let's move on to returns with Mike.
All right. Slow week for me. I only got 3 things to show. First one is a funny failure. I was talking to the guys earlier. I found a box of old photos from like 2010. So I thought, hey, why not? I'll try and find some new addresses. Had a few photos of Garrett Morris, the old SNL comic. Tracked down an address for a Garrett Morris in California, and apparently that is not him. You have the wrong address. If you write here again, we're going to contact the police. So, whoops.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm kind of wondering if it is the right address, because I did some research and whatever. So let's just put those right in the trash.
That is just too harsh. That is.
You should frame that letter. That's a pretty unique return. I think we've all got returns like that, but not as threatening. That's a pretty threatening letter.
Yeah. Check the handwriting with any other autographs you might, inscriptions.
There you go.
Frame it up next to the restraining order. All one frame. It'll look really nice.
Oh, for sending mail. Come on. It's not a crime. All right. I did get one success. This is Albert Cruz. This is kind of a NASA success. He was one of the original test pilots. Love the old black and white photos. These guys were part of the early NASA stuff. The dinosaur, D-Y-N-A-S-O-R-A, not dinosaur like the old extinct, but dinosaur program that really led to space exploration. So pretty cool. And this is something I started doing for autographs for a cure. I made a RSVP card and says, what we're doing, and gives them the option if I can sign or send additional 8x10s if they want to make a donation, or respectfully decline. That's the third one that he checked, but have another signature there. So he signed it.
Matte piece.
That's a good idea.
Yeah,
I like that.
matte piece. Matte piece.
Yeah.
I did get a care package from Caleb over at Caleb's Cards for autographs for a cure. He sent a bunch of photos. He has been fantastic. Him and Kim have sent stuff on numerous occasions, but a couple highlights here. This is Vladimir Nadmanensky. I think I got that right. He went into the Hockey Hall of Fame in 2019. He was the first Czech player to defect to the United States to play in the NHL, so that's pretty awesome. Some more NHL Hall of Famer. This is Martin St. Louis. And just a bunch of cool stuff. Hockey, some figure skating. If you guys don't know Caleb, he collects a lot of 4x6s, just random stuff like I do. So anytime he gets some extras in, he sets them aside. Here's a pretty cool Jerry O'Connell. Football, Craig Erickson. Here's Jim Zorn, who I actually dated his goddaughter. So that's pretty cool.
Oh, hey. Wow.
Name dropping. 5x7. This is a pretty cool shot. I don't know much about it. I'll have to look into it. Dave Bristol with the I-1. So it must have been a cow milking contest, but cool shot. 5x7 here. This is Yvonne Fredrickson. She obviously dated Elvis, and there they are in front of Graceland. So anytime you get something associated with the King, that's pretty cool. Great signer, WWE Hall of Famer, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, and a couple other things. So thank you, Caleb, again, for always supporting Autographs for a Cure. Means a lot that people have bought stuff and have donated. So thank you guys for that. But slow week for me, but I am sending stuff out. So watch out.
You want to throw it to somebody?
Let's go to Andy Summers. What do you got?
All right. And I just want to open up by giving my disclaimer and say that I did not get a bowling success since the last show.
Boo.
So if anyone's here just to see those, I'm sorry to disappoint you. I'm going to start off with Hockey Hall of
struck
Famer.
out.
Yeah, I did. Bernie Fedorov signed 1 of 1. And I think he signed like a week, pretty fast. Hockey player John Tavares signed 2 of 2.
That's a big return.
Canada. Another hockey guy. I'm going to butcher the living hell out of his name, but it's Benjik Gufferson. I sent that over to Sweden and literally got him back in like a week, but he signed that card, sent his Swedish team sticker, him in his Swedish uniform when he played, a Swedish card, and his capitals.
You got that back in a week from Sweden?
Sweden, yeah. I was shocked as living hell that
I can't even get stuff back in a week from Chicago right now. Like,
yep. I was amazed. I must have just caught the one plane that flew over there,
right,
and just
That's
happened
crazy.
to be on it and caught the one back. All right, next, Dennis Northcutt for the Browns. I had sent him 2 cards for football. Those 2, something. And he ended up sending me back that one too, this one, and I like this one a lot. It's like a portrait card. So I was happy to get those. Next, I got an oddball item in because I was going through a box. I found this, and it is a little mini bag of coffee that's signed by Guy Fieri, the chef.
Yeah.
I think I found that in a hotel years ago, and it was like the coffee maker. So I was like, oh, guy signed. So I'm going to take it. And I found it the other day. And
I wonder how that's going to age. Like,
I
in
have
10,
no
15
clue.
years, how that bag of coffee is going to be ripe.
Should be interesting. I got a business card back. First, she included a Rosie the Riveter patch. It's like a Velcro patch. And it's coming back from Leanne Carrett, who is the president and CEO of Boeing, who's in charge of defense, space, and security. So she gets to blast things off in the space and blow stuff up down on this end. So she signed the back of that one. And one more. Former Celtics, Kevin Gamble. This one actually took about 7 years to come back. So I guess he was probably sitting around bored, and he finally got around to his work. And finally, I got a mini ball piece back from I keep screwing up this kid's name. Inomi Bates, who was the 2020 Gatorade player, high school player of the year this year.
Nice.
It's always nice to send to a 16-year-old at his parents' house. And that actually came back in about 2 weeks. And they're saying he's going to be a very top pick in the
Andy,
2022 draft.
can I get the address? Addy?
No, because I already got,
Addy?
you know
If you
what?
send me mail here again, I'm gonna call the police.
Oh, is it-
Actually, you know what? I just for fun, I did post it out there that I got him, and I got the Addy, and I just wanted to get that. And I did. One person said, you know what? His parents don't want any mail going to him. Don't send to him. Don't publish the address. And I said I
Right.
wouldn't. So,
Nice.
which I wasn't going to anyways, because it's, you know, it's a 16-year-old high school kid that.
You know what?
May or
I'm gonna
may
get a
not
hat.
be
You know, I
good.
got this hat from Mike's quote, and I'm gonna have to get one of you saying, "I love sending to 16-year-olds."
Hey, in a couple of years when he's just, you know, the number one guy or kid, I don't know what
Yeah,
he
dude.
would be. You know, we'll be
That'll
laughing
look
at.
good matted, by the way.
Yeah, I got a bin of these that I gotta go through because there's a whole draft I sent to every draft guy, and I got a lot of them back. So
He's just gonna
Nice.
sew them all back together and make another ball.
yeah, right, yeah. Like I don't have enough to do. And let's just end with that one.
Okay. Chase.
All right. First one I got here. It's not really a TTM return per se, I guess. It was a Topps redemption that I had turned in like a year and a half ago. Finally got it in from Stranger Things. Gates, Masters, whatever. played Dustin. So happy to get that one. I got a few TTMs. I got 2 from football, Carl Lee. And then 2 from Jim Everett.
Don't call him Chris.
Yeah.
I did notice whenever I was entering these into Star Tiger that, you know, I sent 2, got my 2 back. Someone sent 7 and got 2 back signed. And they were complaining. So,
Does he respond to the Chris stuff if you put it in the letter? Has anybody tried that? Or like maybe a photo of him like punching Jim Rome. I wonder if he
awesome.
responds to that.
I don't know on that one. I didn't.
Positively, you mean?
Back last year when Caleb was doing his team 70s versus 90s, I sent these off for Ed Too Tall Jones, and they finally came in. I got 1 and 2. And then I got 2 back from Paul Molidor.
Nice.
Mhm.
Offer.
Did you get him in before he raised his prices?
I did, and that was the next thing is I don't know how well this will be for the audio listeners, but here's his new prices. Let's see if I can get that in there.
Star
So there-
Tiger, you should have a tab where you can see price lists.
He
Yeah,
does.
like-
Yeah, there is.
No, there's not. There's not a tab where you can see the like people can scan in their price list.
Oh, I
The
see.
Scans.
Normally, I just scan them in and put them in as a photo.
I know, but it should be separate.
Well, and then the last one is I think Mike got this one back last show. Tessa Thompson signed to Chase on that one, and then just signature on that one. So that's that. Troy, what you got?
Well, I got a few for the sets. Pretty topic appropriate, I guess. So got a John Dobson. We got Dobson here for the set there, Boston Red Sox. Jeff Koning. Unfortunately, I actually bought this one on eBay like a week before he came back.
So just list one back for the same price.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been getting a bunch of these. What are these? 1990 Fleer. I've sent out everything I have, and so this one came back from Mark Eaton. They hold signatures really well. So I've gotten a lot of I haven't done NBA because current NBA players just I didn't have any success with, but these 90s players have been pretty good actually. Success rate. This one was, I think, 2 years. Kevin Moss. I think I've been seeing a bunch of people get him back on Instagram.
Yeah, he's
And
definitely
then,
catching up.
Just yesterday, a Cliff Pennington. This has been out about 2 years. And then from spring training 2017, Kyle Hendricks sent to Arizona for the Cubs, and it came back from Arizona actually. So I don't know if he lives there or what, but this one, or the Topps Fire, I thought would turn out a little better since I knew he signed in blue usually, but
He kind of signed in the worst spot.
yeah, it's kind of there.
But that's a nice return.
And then I don't have the card. We could probably talk about this a little bit later, but for the checklists for the set, I had been doing umpires, and Chase has been doing umpires as well. I don't have the card. I actually already filed it, but I also got, he sent this himself. Who was it? Joe Brinkman? Joe Brinkman, who was one of the umpires in the infamous George Brett Pine Tar incident there. So that's a little depiction of that down there. And what's funny about this is on the back, it actually has the rules that he broke.
That's awesome.
Then, so,
That's
you know,
a pretty
rule
cool piece.
6.06, a batter is out for illegal actions when he hits an illegally batted ball, and then all the different rules that technically he broke. So,
You gonna send that off to Brett?
you know, I found a bag of pine tar at Salvation Army once, and I thought about it, but unlike Pete Rose, who signs "I'm sorry I bet on baseball," I'm not sure George Brett would sign a pine
He's
tar
not there
bag.
yet. Just wait.
So that's pretty much all I got. So.
Awesome. Blood, what do you got?
All right, we got a little bit of everything. TTMs, I've pushed it about 3 weeks, but I got about 13, but stack of RTSs. They just keep coming in. That's why I've slowed down. But I did get 8 successes, a couple good ones. I promise, my disclaimer is, I promise I do send to actors and actresses. Most of what I get back is models and porn stars. I don't know why.
Adult actors.
But this is Lena Wood, actress. I think she was also in Playmate. Took like 15 days.
Actress.
She
Yeah,
signed a few.
that's Natalie Wood's sister, right?
I don't know if
I'm pretty sure that's Natalie Wood's sister.
James Bond.
think it
she
is.
was in. And then she signed. Let me make sure. Yeah, there's a sticky on there. Okay. The Playmate shot.
Wait, what did you say? There's
Nothing to see here. Nothing to see here.
I thought you said something about a sticky note.
He had to put a sticky on top of some stuff. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Adult film star Alexis Fox. I actually met her when I was in Vegas for the AVN Awards. She's really nice. Not sure how these are showing up. That one's okay. She signed everything. She always signs everything.
I love your stickies.
That's the best one. All right, next up, Raquel Pumplin, Playmate. Did she get Playmate of the Year? I think she did.
You're asking us.
For those on
heard
the
her
audio, for those on the audio only podcast, you might want to check us out on YouTube. As
Yeah.
well.
Make sure the kids are out.
I'm telling you, Mike, you need to get you a ding bell.
Yeah.
Another. This one I
Drown out all the
sent
sound.
4 or 5 photos to, but she only signed 2 and kept the other ones. Danny Daniels. There's that one, and then the Stairway to Heaven. So she signed only 2. Here we go. Here's old R&B singer Maya Harrison. She
No, we don't
signed,
care about this stuff, but come on.
You should just put a sticky note on it. Just to
I don't know.
know.
The pictures I'm seeing.
Those stickies on them. She took 48 days. As we go, I put them in order of how long they took.
Okay.
Playmate Heather Spytek, Miss June of 2001. She's probably the only person that signed the index card. I've noticed since the COVID thing, maybe the index cards are kind of scary for people. But she signed all 4 or 5 of them.
Well, that's weird because the photos are much like they're not porous like the index cards. The porous wouldn't hold the
Yeah.
virus, so it's the opposite.
Heather took 63 days. Another adult film star, Helena Price. I didn't write on these stickies.
Oh,
So
ran out of quips.
she signed 4, and she sent a little promotional postcard. And then my longest and last one, TTM, I also got Tessa Thompson in. Took 413 days. She did the put them in the back together too soon, so one got ruined. It's on the back of one of these other ones right there. But she signed all 4 photos. One Thor Ragnarok poster, and this one was my favorite.
Nice.
Then my birthday's coming up. My girlfriend knows me very well. She got me the Child Pop.
Ooh.
And I bought a couple certified PSA, or this one's actually Beckett. We got Iggy Azalea, rapper, Deborah Ann Wool from True Blood and Daredevil, Emmy Rawson from Shameless, Ashley Benson. And I was looking forward to meeting her until the con got canceled, Danielle Panabaker. And then my bucket list purchase, I got 2. One I can't show because it's large and in a frame. I got Daisy Ridley from the Star Wars movies.
Nice.
And this one I've wanted probably my entire TTM career, Megan Fox. This is 11 by 14, and it's certified through JSA.
Nice. Is she doing cons yet? I figured she's going to be a con person eventually.
That's what I thought. I have not seen her
She's got what,
con.
2 or 3 kids to take care of?
Yeah, but I mean, that's less time for acting, and you got to make money somewhere. So
Yeah, she'd make good money too.
Yep, she would. Is that it?
Yeah, that's it, Zane.
All right. Well, let's move on to the old Zanester here. I got some purchases for the business that I'm going to show off. And you guys seem to like the cuts of the inscriptions from my mat pieces. So I got a pile of those to show off too. So let's start off with book purchases. Got this in. Good timing. Don Shula signed right there.
The curse.
That's probably going to become a mat piece tonight, probably. Moving on. Got a dual signature here, Red Arbok. And it's actually signed. Oh, that's getting bleached out, guys. Let me see if I can tilt. Nope. They're just going to get bleached out here. There we go. You can kind of see. It's up here. You have to trust me. Red Arbok, and then the co-author down here. That one's going to stay in the book because it's a rarer Red Arbok signed book. People pay premium. Here is The Last Man on the Moon, signed by Gene Cernan, The Last Man on the Moon. So signed right there with a cool inscription. And next up is legendary baseball announcer Red Barber. This is 1947 and signed by Red Barber. Gosh dang, I'm getting really bleached out here. Signed right there. You know what? Here's what we're going to do, guys. We're going to switch to some zoom action where you guys can, not zoom, but focus action. So you guys can actually see what I'm showing off. Here we go. All right. So there's the Red Barber. Oh, yeah, Red Barber. Moving on. Good old Waylon Jennings. You can see the blur of the book here before I show you the signature. Signed on the title page by Waylon. Right there. Maybe I need to focus out a little bit. Let's see if that helps. Apologize to our audio listeners. This is for video people. But, oh yeah, that helped a little bit. There you go. Moving on, we have the amazing Criswell. And if you guys are into Ed Wood like I am, his terrible movies, Criswell was in Plan 9 from Outer Space. And got a signed book there. And the last one I'm going to show you guys for today is Anthony Bourdain. This is the book Medium Raw. And it's signed on a book plate right there. So there's the Bourdain. So some really cool pickups. I actually got more coming in, and some I haven't. I got a Bob Ross in that I really feel like I should have showed you guys, but I already put it up. Bob Ross signatures are going for premium right now. He is a popular culture icon, which is funny because he was popular in the 90s and the 80s. But now let's show off some of these inscriptions that were cut whenever I did matte pieces. And these vary, I mean, I've had these for years, so I have a good stack to go through. This is Jonathan Winters, and it's got a funny inscription about taking care of money and stuff. So that's a nice little one to start off with. This is a letter that was written to Chuck Yeager, who was the first man to break the sound barrier. And they asked a question, what other planes did you fly? And he put, all of them. So there's that.
That's nice.
Moving on, this is part of an inscription from Bill Russell, NBA great. Here is a cool inscription from Billy Burke, who was the Good Witch and the Wizard of Oz. It says, to my dearest, Miss something, love and love. I think that's what it says. But there's that. This one's really cool. This one is actually from a promotional photo that was signed by Rick Moranis, who is pretty rare to get since he's kind of been a family man for the last 20 years. But this is Barney Rubble, because he inscribed it Barney Rubble. So that's in his handwriting right there. Well, I love that one.
He is returning.
He is. He's coming back. I heard that. This is The Moon, written out by Jim Irwin, Moonwalker. So, The Moon. Here is an inscription from Christopher Hitchens, known intellectual literary guy. Right there. Very rare stuff. His signature alone goes for over $200. This one's cool too. This is Maya Angelou, and this has a pre-printed signature, but she did handwriting under the pre-printed signature and a date. So it's basically just a normal note. There's the pre-printed signature, but then there's the handwritten note about P.S. Happy birthday, belated happy birthday, and there's a date right there too. So I tried to put these in order of magnitude, so they should be getting better and better. This is Shirley Temple. So Shirley Temple, just a simple inscription with best wishes. I have so many of these guys that these segments are gonna be a little long, but I got to get through them all. This is Jimmy Stewart. I actually just did this one this week, so to Nito. Here is Harrison Schmidt, another moonwalker on Apollo 17, with an inscription and best wishes. Here is Charles Schulz, who, of course, is the creator of Peanuts and Snoopy. Happy birthday, Tiffany. And the last one is crazy. This alone is probably worth a couple $100 just for handwriting. Nobody sells handwriting, but his signature is so rare that, yeah. Versace, who was, famously murdered, but right there, to Denise, and signed by Versace. So, all right, those are my returns / handwriting analysis bits. I don't know what to exactly call those. I'll come up with an official name because, like I said, I got a stack of them that I pulled out. Anyways, let's go ahead and move on to the Market Watch. Mike?
Alrighty. This week show topic is set collecting. So I thought it'd be fun to jump on eBay and find some set stuff. Now you guys should be seeing the Excel spreadsheet. And the first little slide that I pulled up here is just I put in signed sets, and what came up? Sold Game of Thrones Season 2 complete card set, all 48 autographs. There's got to be some big names in there. I'm not a big fan of Game of Thrones, but I know a lot of people are.
Yep.
4,500 best offer accepted. I'm guessing probably about $4,000 for 48 autographs. So pretty cool. The other one right below it here that caught my eye, 2014 Panini Country Music Complete Master Set, 125 plus autographs, went for under $2,000, but looks like patches and autographs on those. So sets can get up there in price.
Yeah, we'll talk a little bit about that later on. And what stuff is worth, but this is definitely a profitable thing if you are willing to be all up in eBay, knowing what's coming in and sniping these auctions. You can build a set and you can actually make some decent money.
All right, so the next one here I just did, this is not sold, but you can find autograph set stuff. Here is a 2015 Panini USA baseball complete set, 24 cards autographed. They're asking $100 for it if you are a big fan of USA baseball. Also, you can find stuff not complete, but if you're working on a set, here's 86 tops signed, 157 cards. So if you work on the 86 tops, which is a pretty popular set, you can see Eric Davis there, Eddie Murray, some big names, Jeff Reardon, and
people just giving up.
Yep.
Yeah. Started, thought it was a good idea.
Yep.
The next one, this one's for Troy. The 1991 Donruss set, 786 autographed cards. What are you up to, Troy?
Little over 600 I have.
So he's more than 2/3 of the way there, but the guy's asking 4,800 for the set. So
yeah, but I doubt he's got the checklist signed, so Troy's is better.
I think he has some checklist signed. I'm not sure by who.
And also this cost Troy $8,000 so far for his. So.
Yeah, really. According to him, there's the Willie Stargell poster that is a card, and I was sending mine to Dick Perez. I forgot the guy who drew it, but that one says it's actually signed by Willie Stargell.
It was the puzzle pieces, right?
Yeah, but
but it was actually like the picture of what it looks like.
Yeah. So that's something I'll never get. So.
Well, you got $4,000 on you because you can get it.
There you go.
That's a way to cheat, though. Go right to the end.
Basketball sets, you can find them. Just search eBay, same thing. People just start collecting these things and know people are going to buy stuff for a set. Here's some old school stuff, 1973, 88 different cards, $325. 1996 Score Basketball Authentic with a Kobe, they're asking $5,500.
That would have been a lot less probably 6 months ago.
Right.
Yeah, take the Kobe out and he'll take 500.
Yeah, seriously.
Here's a pretty cool one, 1980 Topps NBA Basketball Autograph Hall of Fame lot. Looks like they're all PSA DNA slabbed. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Man, that's just in slab alone is for $5,000.
Yeah. So he's got some money in there. And I just did a search for like factory sets. So if you guys are looking to get into sending autographs or TTM request sets, you can find cheap stuff. Here's an 87 Topps baseball factory sealed complete set, $20 or best offer. The 2017 has a Jeter exclusive, $45. Of course, we'll talk about this later, but you'll probably have to find multiples of the set, but they're out there for a good price. Something that we normally don't think about, but non-sports cards. I touched on it on the first slide, but Star Wars is a big card deal again. It was back in the 70s. It has rejuvenated with the movies. The cards are pretty cool, but they have some pretty awesome autographs. So if you're looking to do sets, you can get boxes or the base sets, for cheap if you want to try. And the last one I was going to tie into something I'm going to show, but this is the Miracle on Ice card set that came out in 1995. Here is just a 50 card set, no autograph. They're looking for $300 for that. And if you want everything with the autograph, including a Herb Brooks autograph, who has sadly passed away, you're looking at $3,000. You can pick up the singles pretty cheap. There's Herb Brooks and Bob Sutter, who have both passed away in that set. But stuff's out there on eBay for sets, not complete sets. If you want to, build your set, there's lots. There's all sorts of different stuff. You can get the cards, just the base cards. So eBay is definitely a valuable tool for set collecting.
And I think certified versus hand signed TTM, you're going to see a big difference there on eBay on pricing. So we'll talk about that later too. Okay, great stuff. We're going to move on to Chase with the Via Venue report.
All right. Well, in June, we actually have some in-persons coming up. And now, who knows by the end of the month if they're still going to be there? I don't know. But Wizard World is doing St. Louis and Philly in June. So there's also, for the show Supernatural, there's a supposed Supernatural Con in Chicago. Monster Bash, Washington State Summer Con, and Monster Ball. Or sorry, I already said Monster Bash, sorry. Fan Expo Dallas. And then again, tons of private signings. You can, like I said before, you can go to Facebook and look up groups for baseball private signings. I'm not going to list everybody that's on there, but there's a ton. And you can also try, if baseball's not your thing, celebrity private signing. I saw someone mention that a Michael Keaton private signing is coming up, and someone just posted for Nicole Eggert. So if those are your thing, you can check out Facebook for the private signings.
Yeah, so if you convention people, that's kind of where you get your fix right now, I guess, those in the virtual conventions for the one-on-ones. But I'd be interested to see if those, stay in place, those conventions you listed. We'll see.
And one last I'm going to give a little small plug for one of our past guest hosts, Neary. Every Thursday on his Facebook for Celebworks, he's been doing voice actors with G.I. Joe voice actors, like doing a live. And every episode they give away a signed photo as well. So you might want to check that out if you like the voice actors.
For sure. Yeah, we love Neary. And that's at Celebworks on Facebook.
Right.
Okay, great stuff. Let's move on to the topic, guys. And the topic, as you may have guessed, is what we're calling goal-oriented collecting. And we're putting the asterisk on this that it has to have a stopping point. So you can't say, oh, my goal-oriented collecting is baseball players, because that goes on forever. This has to have a finite amount of autographs that you need to finish. So there's a light at the end of the tunnel, if you will. First off, we're going to talk about cards. And there's two different, kind of ways to collect cards this way. You have TTMing, and just, doing a normal card set. And then you have the actual certified autos that people try to build up and then usually sell as a set. So obviously we have a lot of experience here with the cards and the TTMing. And if you guys want to take it over, Troy and Chase, you guys kind of are and I think Andy, you dabble too, don't you?
Just a little.
Just a little. What's your experience with collecting a set, and what is it what you expected?
I should have started with a smaller set, I guess, rather than some of these. You saw what Mike had, about 786. I'm actually counting 770, and not the highlights, which is a subset. And so we'll see if I get to the highlights. But even beyond that, I found out there's something called the Studio 99 or Studio 91, which is like a magenta background with a black and white picture. And then there's like an ultra rare signed card. I can't remember who it was in the set as well. But, I think especially when you start out trying to do this, Zane alluded to it a little bit, where I'm buying probably one set every 1.5 to 2 years, maybe. Lucky for me, the 91 Donrusses are like $10 still on even Amazon, still has them. But you go through a lot of sets and then you're like, what do I do with all these other ones? So I'm not quite sure if I use those for someone sent me something where they shredded them. It might have been Henry or someone as packing material or something. Old cards. But yeah, you definitely have to, once you get out that first set, you're like, okay, now what? And then I usually wait 6 to 8 months and then get another set and try the same people that you never heard from and just keep trying. What about
Do you ever feel
Chase?
like there's like people that are like, oh, this guy again, and into the garbage it
I'm
goes?
sure, and then sometimes after 3 or 4 years, like 2 of them will come back separately, and you're like, "Oops, I
Yep.
used the form letter."
Yep.
Typed form letter.
Yep.
I was like, "Oops, I look like a scumbag now." But I know Chase is working on one that's pretty much around the same time. Chase,
Yeah, I'm also
how many sets of those have you bought?
Well, to be honest, I still don't have a complete set because I went the route of I bought boxes of wax packs. So yes, I'm still actually missing a few cards, but they're not any that I need right this second. So luckily, the 91 Fleer are so cheap you can pick them up for 5-10 cents a piece. But to add to my insanity, if I go with like cards like this, which is from the bottom of the boxes.
Ooh.
So I know the Donners doesn't have the bottom of the box cards, but it is technically a 91 Fleer printed card, and I'm currently on that set. I'm at 229 out of 891, and that's not counting the 9. So we're looking at we'll just say an even 900 because I'm also getting the stickers signed by the managers. I'm just trying to keep gouging that little pain into my side there for the but yeah, as far as most of them are TTM. I've also had to send off for like private signings. Got a lot of them in person at one of the good things about 91 is that some of the players are now coaching, so like minor league coaches and coaches in the major leagues and things like that. So they can get that, you can get them that way. But yeah, there's a few that are harder to get.
Now, why did you guys decide on the sets you guys decided on?
For me, I like the I guess formality of the 91 Fleer. Every card looks exactly the same. They're all yellow. They're in alphabetical order by team in the set. So I don't know, it just makes it easier, and they really, I think the signatures really pop on the yellow.
Right.
I think it was because I was at a store in Simi Valley, California, run by Scott Schwartz from the Toy and Christmas Story. His dad owned the store, and they were trying to get rid of a huge box of cello packs of 91 Donruss. So I just grabbed them, and I was like, TTM fuel. I just grabbed a handful, and then they started coming back, and that's kind of how it started for me.
So if you had to choose a set, you probably choose a different set.
I like you guys. I think Andy maybe Mike might have collected the set, but weren't you guys like, was it like 94 Upper Deck that you guys really liked with
91.
white? 91 Upper
91 is 800 cards. I need 3, and I'm done. Then
Wow.
one of my sanities will be over.
Wow.
I actually needed 4, and I got 1 coming to me now that I went and bought.
Well, what are the ones you need, just out of curiosity?
I'll tell you that one is really stupid. One is Eric Shaw, who's dead. One of the Barry Bonds in the set, and one of them is pretty embarrassing. It's a Chris Sabo that I actually got in, and it was personalized, and I never screwed around with taking an impersonation off, so I did, and I totally destroyed the card.
Oh.
So that was just, kicked me right in the. And I honestly, I can't even find it, and I have sent to him so many times. I actually ran out. I mean, I literally bought 91 Upper Deck, probably 12, 14 sets of that one, and I sent them all out, and it's the most dumbest card. I can't find it.
Oh man.
Wow.
I can understand the Shao and the Bonds, but it's just, and I still have the Chris Sable. I keep it up here someplace that it just stares back at me like, you moron. You need this to almost finish it, and it's a big white spot on it now where my name was. It totally took off everything of the card.
So Andy, I had no idea you were that heavy into set collecting.
I am currently doing 6 sets.
Holy cow.
And
Okay.
see, I lucked out with a lot of the 91 Upper Deck because I started doing TTM in 91, and I was obsessed with the Upper Deck because in 1990 I opened a pack and got one of the Reggie Jackson insert autographs in there. So I was like, oh, that's easy to get. I can do it in 91. And I bought so many, then I learned about TTM and started sending them out. Then after like 2 or 3 years, I looked and I was like, holy crap, I have a lot of these. And I was actually at a card show, and a guy had an 84 Donruss set. And I was like, oh, you made a whole set out of sign? He goes, yeah, it's easy. And I'm like, okay, I have a lot of Upper Decks. Let me try that.
That's
Not
awesome.
9 years later, I am this close.
You should really
I'm
make
doing
a
some other tricky ones, but it's just, I'm doing a 81 Flair, 88 tops, 90 Flair, 91 Flair, 92 tops, and the Upper
nice.
Deck.
Well, I'm going to push you to make a list, just like I'm pushing Chase to make a public list. That way people can help you out. If they have something that you need, make a trade or whatever.
Yeah, I've been going eBay crazy, just trying to fill in these little gaps of guys that just. But
well,
now
those
that
sets that you have a few, I mean, that's a small list. You know what I'm saying? So it shouldn't be that hard.
no, it's just filling in the little gaps. It's just when I look at my spreadsheets, what I still need, and I kind of color coordinate, and I just like, oh, this guy, it's $2 on eBay with a little ship. Oh, I can just mark it right off.
Yep.
That's what I've been doing lately.
Right.
But now that we have a little secret new weapon to mail off to people, that I'm gonna start doing directly to them now.
Nice. That's great. I had no idea you were that heavy. That's cool to hear. So we have some experience definitely in that area.
And that's kind of what you said there, Zane, was I think one of the beauty of collecting sets is there are other people that do the same. And so that helping each other out, I might get a lot of a certain player, or not 3 or 4 cards of a certain player on eBay, and it might have a 91 for Chase, or it might be. And so there is a certain amount of camaraderie, I think, with people who are doing sets that, trading and trying to complete things. And I think that's pretty awesome.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I'm actually doing this 91 Fleer set with Megan from Megan TT Hobbies. She's doing the same one. She's actually the one that got me a lot of the boxes of the wax packs. And yeah, like I'll send off 2 cards. If they both come back signed, I'll send her one. I'll keep one. And she's doing the same thing. So it's helping. I've actually only been working on this set for about, I don't know, a year and a half now. So I'm a little bit less time invested as Troy.
Right.
The best thing about when you start a set, you get a lot of guys right off the bat within, sending them off. Then it just
Right. And
suddenly
you're like,
just goes
this is great. This is going to be
down.
easy. And then it's like,
Yeah, it's like, I'm getting all these guys back.
Then I've
and all
got,
of a sudden
I've
you
got
get
a dual
complete wall.
There's a
You're
dual
not getting
card in
any
the set that's got Barry Bonds and King Griffey Jr. I'm like, geez, that's not going to be a cheap one to get.
Nope.
But someone probably has it somewhere that.
Yeah,
So yeah, that's definitely a unique thing. I wonder if there's a Facebook group maybe that's for like vintage 80s, 90s, early 90s trading, that a lot of people that get that stuff in could possibly trade what they need. That would be a good idea if that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
But let's go ahead and move on to the certified cards, which I have some experience in. I actually did the 2003 through 2005 Topps Fan Favorites set. And the reason I picked that, it's a lot smaller than what you guys are doing. A lot more sanity involved. But the cool thing is, if you can't find somebody, there's no reasonable like signed card that's not certified, you can get a cert. There's certs of all of them in the set. So all the cards in the set have certified variations. So I was doing a mix of TTM and certs. And it was a lot easier, I'll put it that way, because you're relying on some of these guys that pass away a few years after the set comes out. Those are super rare cards that are sought after. You're going to pay top dollar for those guys. Some of them are almost impossible.
I've seen some guys on YouTube do videos where, like, because there are cards that are made, like, by the time they took the picture and by the time they printed had passed away.
Right.
And, you know, he's wanting to get that card signed, and it's impossible to get it signed. So they have taken sticker autos from a different set, removed it, and put it onto that card for his set.
Yeah. That's a good idea. I was gonna say, if it's a 90s card, you could do a cut auto and just stick it in the card sleeve or whatever. But yeah, that's definitely one of the stickler things. When if you're being a purist and you have a gigantic set, you're gonna run into a few of those cards.
Yeah, that also leads me to another set that I'm working on. I've got the the Stranger Things certified pull from pack cards.
Oh, so you're gonna try for that set?
Oh yeah.
So how many you got to go? How big's your bank account?
Yeah, I was gonna say
not that big. Because there's a few of them, and the thing is that I'm only getting the base cards, the ones that are the white. I'm not getting the color variations. And there's a few of them that are only one. Like there's only one. I think it's a one of one of like both of the Duplass brothers together on one card. So
you like torturing yourself, huh?
Yeah, I
it's
know,
not going to happen.
Yeah,
But I think I'm like 7 card, 5 or I think I've got 7 out of the first set of season. So I think there's only a 13 card set in the first season, and there's like 30 in the next season. So, and I've got about 10, I think, of those. I don't know. I'm going to be doing a video on that coming up soon.
That reminds me of the one time I was looking at the Ender's Game Cryptozoic cards, and I was like, oh, there's all these no names in here. These are easy to pick up. And then you're like, and then there's Harrison Ford.
Yep.
The certified pull from pack. That's, who knows? I forget how many they made, but you're like, yeah.
Yeah, there's another one like that, another set I'm thinking about doing, but I'm not going to mention that because I don't want people running and buying them and trying to flip them on me.
So the certifieds are obviously, they're a limited quantity. You can't get them to add to the quantity that exists. So you're kind of stuck with what you got and what comes on the market. So that's definitely a whole different ball game, unless you're doing a mix and match like I did. So another fun one to do, but you're kind of reliant on the market. And then we're going to talk about subject collecting, which I believe Bloodspawn has some experience in. And by the way, Bloodspawn is David. That's his old YouTube username. So that if I say blood, that's who I'm talking about. And then Mike has some experience with those. So subject collecting is basically, and this is finite, where you have a finite amount of people you need to collect on photos or book plates for a set, and that's what you're aiming for. What's been your experience with that, Mike?
Well, for me, I'm not a card guy, so I've never tried for a set. What I did is, after we got done watching the movie Miracle, I decided to try every one of the living members of the Miracle on Ice team. on these two 4x6 photos. It's a blown up Sports Illustrated and then a Lake Placid poster they did. And there was only two people that have passed away at the time. And lo and behold, like 3-4 years later, probably my greatest accomplishment as a collector, I finally finished every single living member of that team. What I did, get yourself a piece of paper, write down everyone that you want, and just start checking them off. The guys over here were tough. And I don't know if you can see that. That's Mark Pavlich. He was the last one I needed. If you don't know his story, he's had some mental health issues, and he hates signing. He doesn't go to the team events. He's canceled pretty much every single private signing that he's done. But again, when you network with other collectors and they know you're working on something, if they get a tidbit of information, you can get the final piece. And I got Pavlich on both photos. And so what I did is I bought a card because I was like, there's no way I'm going to complete this.
Right.
And that's one of the downfalls of working on a set is you might not complete it. And that would drive me nuts.
Yep.
You know, knowing I was down to one player and I couldn't get him. I tried sending different addresses, never got him. Then I got a little inside information from a fellow collector, and lo and behold, you know, I was able to complete it. So that's what I do. I think the other kind of niche one, which is a little more broad, is, you know, I collect the Kennedy assassination, which is much more broad. It's not a finite, but that's a more focused, you know, collection. That's something separate. But the Miracle on Ice is probably one of the best things that I've collected, just because there's a start and a finish. So
right, I think you can make the JFK finite if you like said, I'm going to this point. Like once you get to the grandfather of the person that was there that day, like that starts to get past a certain point.
When you talk about, like, you know, the people that were there, witnesses, you can keep going to the people in, you know, Dealey Plaza, then
right.
Lee Harvey Oswald. I mean, it can keep going, but
Yeah.
something with like the Miracle on Ice team, and I even expanded that because I got every living member. Then I'm like, well, the team doctor's still alive. I got him, and the assistant coach, I got him, and then I got the last player cut, and I was like, okay, I expanded it, but I got every living player. So I mean,
so it's like the checklist conundrum that Troy and Chase and Andy have.
You can always add it, because I had so much fun tracking those guys down. I'm like, oh, you know, let me check him. Oh, I just keep going. But Dave, what do you collect that is finite?
I worked on a few projects back in the day. I did a Playmate book, a UFC book. I had a Legends of the Cowboys book. Now that can go on and on and on, obviously, but you know, it was just the people that were in this book, and I would send out a book plate and get it signed and put in there. So, you know, there's 12 Playmates every year, and that just keeps growing. But it's just in this, it was like the 40 years of Playboy. And then the UFC encyclopedia was any of the people that were in that. And I had some success, 15, 20 different autographs in there, but then you hit that wall and you just can't find the people or whatever. I have worked on some card sets before. I was working on the 87 Topps baseball. I like the wood grain look. It was another popular TTM set to work on back in the day. And I probably had like 200 or 300, and then it was just kind of, I lost interest. I think the biggest thing for this is, if you're going to get into it, you have to kind of think of the type of collector or person you are as well. If you're like me and you're a completist, sets and stuff is probably not something you're going to want to get into, because you're going to have those ones that you can't get, or are going to be hard to get, or you might not get for 5-10 years. And me, I want to get it done. I want to own them all. Let me get it done, knock it out the park, and it's over with. Get on to the next one. So I gave up on sets really quick. I did start working on some smaller sets, like the Olympic card sets, because they're only like 80, 90 cards, and I got like 60 or 70 of them. and I'm still own them to this day. I just got to get those last few, the bigger names like a Phelps and stuff like that. They're not going to sign TTM, so that'll be one. But luckily, like Zane said, if the set has a certified version, you grab that one, and there you go. You put that in the set. But
Right.
the first thing to think of is what kind of person you are. Research the set. How many people in that set are already passed away? When did that set come out? So if because they do a lot of Legends of the Game kind of sets. Well, that's a bad one to work on if you're a completist, because there's no way you can even buy a certified one of that person because they died so long ago. So older, I think that's another reason why a lot of people go with the 80s and 90s stuff, or even earlier or older, because there is certified ones are enough out there that you can still probably likely get all those people. So a lot of research to go in with any way you do this, whether it's sets, TTM certified, purchasing. There's a lot of stuff that you got to think about before you get into it.
Would everybody agree there's a wall that you hit eventually that kind of you got to make a choice at that point when you hit that wall? Am I going to keep
Andy
going
hit a
with
wall
this?
several times? Just
Right. Am I going to plow through this wall?
Well, let me ask you this, because I think, Troy, it's in your set, maybe in Chase's, but somebody like Bo Diaz, he died in 92 or whatever, and let's say you're working on the 91 set. Is his card and his price going to be comparable to, I don't want to say one of the big names, but, a future Hall of Famer? Because there's people out there working on that set and it came out and he died, and there's a very limited number of that card signed by him. He's not a big name, but he passed away.
Yeah, there's a lot like that.
Yeah. No, you're going to come across like a bunch of like Yvonne Calderon. Like he's dead. I mean, there's certain guys that have passed away, but there's plenty of their stuff signed before they pass. And it was so many years after the set already came out. Like a tricky one was Steve Olin. I mean, he got into a boating accident while he was still playing. I mean, he's a tricky one. I mean, up and down. I mean, I've seen a few of his out there, but he's a tricky one. Like I said, I mean, he died right in the middle of his career. I mean, if you're going to do a newer set, Jose Fernandez, when he died in his boating accident.
Right.
And he's limited too of that card being signed.
No,
so yeah, you're going to pay a little bit more.
That drives up the price though, right? Because
yeah,
people are trying to collect the sets and there's limited number of that stuff out there.
Exactly.
It drives up the fakes too.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. So it also drives up the forgeries because people know that people need those cards, and those forgers are always happy to fill a hole when it's needed.
But one guy that I found very tricky to get is Jose Uribe. I mean, he lived in the Dominican Republic, died umpteen years ago, and his cards are very limited because he wasn't local. He wasn't doing any shows around here. He wasn't signing anywhere around here. So a guy like that can be awfully tricky to track down.
Right.
Like a legit one too.
Right.
I need him for a couple of sets, and I just don't want to pay that much right now. That it's just going to hold me back from buying, my fillers right now.
Well, let's talk about some of the roadblocks that you guys do hit when you hit that wall. So obviously the rarity of a card, if somebody passes away a year or two after, that one's going to be like one of the last ones you get because it's going to be whenever you find it kind of thing. What are some of the other roadblocks? Price on the Hall of Famers is definitely an issue. Forgeries, as we brought up, are going to be an issue. Have you guys hit those, and how have you dealt with those?
I go on to another set. That's basically why I'm doing so many is I hit that roadblock and go, hey, I'll just start another one. Then I'll just, I'll give it a few months away from this, and I'll go back and try and work on a little bit more. But I mean, that's why I'm working on 6 sets. I mean, it's just, I hit that wall and said, well, because I was sending out 2 or 3 cards to the guy, and I'm like, well, he signed for this set. Now I have a whole bunch of extra cards for this set, so I might as well do this one.
Right.
That's why I've come across, and that's why then you do hit a roadblock because it's trying to track down anyone or
used all the addresses on Star Tiger.
Yeah.
You gotta wait till new address pops up to try again.
Or you hope the guy does a signing someplace, or
I mean, I ran into that last month where I just decided I'm finally gonna do it, and I got 2 Barry Bondses, the same night, and then I was like, well, there's a slab Nolan Ryan. I might as well get that while it's there because I know that one's real, and it was less than what he charges, which is 60 now or something like that. And so I ran into, we were talking about signings. I ran into, I don't know why, but there's 4 Ricky Hendersons in the 1991 Don Russ set, and he's doing a signing for $85 per card. I'm like, no, I'll have to wait until that second or third stimulus check comes for that one, probably. But I'm just
or maybe if he's an advisor, I don't know if he's an advisor in spring training. Some of those legends go down there for spring training.
But
he
then
is the worst guy to get in person. Just
and then at nationals, he's $200, and so 85 would be cheap, but I'm not going to drop 4 at a time on
some of those signings that will get extras, and keep an eye on Facebook because you never know whoever's putting on the signing is like, I got 25 extras, and then they drop out. I want 60 because I want to get rid of them. So you never know. Keep an eye on the Facebook forums.
For real.
Yeah,
that's very
there's
true,
people all the time selling their extras. I picked some up already myself.
Yeah,
some that I needed.
That's something too. Like if you're thinking about starting a set, like Andy does it smart. Like he started in 91 with the 91 set. But if I'm going to start a set, one of my favorite cards is the 89 Upper Deck. I'm not going to start that now because I know what number 1 card is. The Ken Griffey Jr. rookie card. The later you start a set, if you're looking vintage, some of those guys are now Hall of Famers, and you're going to be paying Ricky Henderson prices, and just beware of that.
My thing is, I would not start a set anything beyond like 2,000 because the prices for those guys is insane.
Because then you're chasing Mike Trout.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you want to get a Mike Trout card sign at his sign. It's like what, 2.25, or it's just. See, I got in right at the good time that I could TTM, and guys that were signing shows were like $5. Like I remember Tom Gordon was signing when he was with the Red Sox. He was like $6.
Right.
And I got my card signed then, and I was at a show, and Tom Glavine just happened to be walking around, and they dragged him in and said, "Hey, when you sit down and sign, we'll give you a couple of bucks." And I ended up getting him for like $5 there. So it was a good, way for me to get my card signed so cheap back in the day. Then once the internet kicked off and eBay came up, and it was easier that way. So I kind of double dipped there, that I got them cheap in person, and when TTM was still relatively new, I would think, and compared to what it is now.
Well, you're looking at the newer card sets, like the regular players that are playing now. I think there's a lot of archive sets out there that would be decent to collect that are past 2000. Like I said, the top fan favorites that I collected was all old school players with a few newer ones mixed in. I think they have some sets they're still putting out of older players that have variations that have certified autos. That always gives you an extra option if you want to go there to buy.
Yeah, like the Topps archive sets, they have the fan favorites is what they call it. They like will put an older player on the newer cards.
Right. That's the one I collected. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there definitely are sets out there, and like Sports Kings, there's smaller sets that would be doable. But yeah, for the most part, the players that are playing now are going to be a lot harder to get than the players that are retired and sitting at home.
And I forgot to mention, I am doing a bowling set too.
Bowling set, yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm almost there on that one. Once I can track down those deceased Hall of Famers of the bowling world, I'll be all set.
I think I saw that 2020 Triple Threads bowling package last year sometime that coming out. So.
Boys, we're gonna have to move this along for the last subtopic here, which is it worth it? And we're gonna look at this from 2 viewpoints. Is it worth it monetarily? We're gonna look at all the different variations here. This is the first one we're gonna look at. And I'm going to say set collecting, especially 90s set collecting, is probably not worth it monetarily. You're going to put a lot more time and effort into building the set than you're going to get out of it. I did the My America project, which had 152 authors in it, and I got down to 150. I needed 2. And I ended up selling that book, actually, and I didn't sell it for anywhere close to near what it was worth with the time and effort I put into it. So if you're doing a project that is not based around a theme that is a major interest, for instance, Mike has a very strong theme. His is the 1980 Miracle on Ice team. There's fans of that specific thing. There's no fan of a specific book like My America that's like, I love the My America book. Like that group is non-existent or very small. There's no fan of, I like 1988. Like, that's looking for all the players from 1988. That's a very limited market. But if you have something like the Miracle on Ice, that would be a more widely known group, and probably that one definitely would be worth it monetarily. But what do you guys think on that when it comes to, is it worth it monetarily with sports cards, TTM?
For the junk era stuff like the 91, I don't think so. Even if you got them all slabbed, it's still going to be, you'd pay so much for the slabs and it really wouldn't be worth it.
Right.
The only thing I could see is if you do those smaller projects, you see them in autograph stores in Vegas all over the place where, like you were talking about cut autographs, you'd have a huge, like 18 by 36 poster frame of the entire main cast of Titanic matted and stuff like that. And those sell for, $2,000, but cards,
that would be an interest. Like that's people are interested in that topic. That's the thing that ties it together, is probably the most important part of the monetary part.
But our stuff where it's unslabbed junk stuff, I think it's only valuable to me because I know how much time it took to
exactly. It's a goal
put into it.
What about you guys? So I think we agree subject matter is very important when it comes to monetary gain. So if you are thinking of doing this and you think you might sell it down the line and it's not just for personal use, keep that in mind. Try to make sure it's got a very popular theme. Certifications, on the other hand, if you do cert sets, they almost always sell well, depending on condition, of course. But if you pick off here and there on eBay good deals and end up building a full set, you will make a decent amount of money off that. So that is a difference, because it's kind of a random assortment of players, but a very well-known set. And people do collect those specific autograph sets, certs. But let's talk about the emotional side and kind of the feel-goody side, guys, because that's different. Do you get like enjoyment and kind of the rush when you get something you needed for so long to fill a hole? Not trying to be dirty, but is it worth it for the feel goodness?
I think that's the whole thing with set collecting, man. You're doing it for fun. You're working on something. Anybody can go on eBay right now and buy. I got $3,000 in my pocket. I'm gonna go ahead and buy that Game of Thrones set we looked at earlier with Mike. Anybody can do that, and it'll be fun and it'll be awesome when you get it. And then it's like, okay, now what? But when you're collecting and it's taken years, that's an awesome feeling. I still remember getting, because we get these big envelopes, the 4x6 envelopes, and we get them in. But then there's just the little regular size envelope, and I'm like, oh, I know that's cards in there because I don't send too many of them.
Right.
Wondering who it is and stuff like that. That whole side of it, man, just adds to it.
It's the excitement every time you get a return, or a big purchase. You get enough money built up and fill a hole in that.
Yeah, I got my 91 Fleer set in a binder, and I get flip through, and if I have one page and I put a new card in, and hey, I completed a page. I was like, man, that page looks great. It's full. All the cards are signed. You turn the next page and you get one card out of the 9 signed. You're like, great, okay.
Yeah, then you get everybody on the team. You're like, I got that whole team now.
Yeah, I'm down to like only needing like 2 Rangers for having all the Rangers on the 91 Fleer set. So I'm getting close for that one.
Mike, how did you feel when you completed your Miracle on Ice?
Oh, I was ecstatic. Like I honestly did not think I'd ever get Pavlich. It was one of those things that I was like, he hates signing. I'm never going to get it. So I just had it setting aside, and I was done trying. And, and then somebody IM'd me and they're like, try this. I was like, oh. And then when the envelope came in, I was like, I know what this is. Please, please, please. I was like, oh my God, he signed. I'm done. Now I got to
Mike-
figure out how to display them. You know?
Mike was checking informed delivery on that one and was just going crazy, waiting for the mailman to get there.
I wasn't sending a lot out, and I was like, "That's coming back from Minnesota." I'm like, "Oh my god, oh." So it was a good feeling.
Is that the best feeling you've ever had with this hobby, or just up there in the like top 5?
It's definitely up there. I mean, when you pull a big name, and you know we've all pulled somebody that we didn't think we were going to get ever. I mean, I remember when I got Sandy Koufax, like that was untouchable back in the day. And when I got him, I was completely in shock. But this was over, you know, the Miracle on Ice was years of working on, and to track them all down. I mean, like I said, that's probably as an accomplishment, that's probably the greatest accomplishment as a collector that I've done.
So you're gonna try and get the 2 guys that passed away now? I know you can't get them on your pictures, but and do
Yeah,
cut
I've already got them. I bought this from somebody that has Bob Sutter on it, along with a bunch of other guys, and then I have actually 2 Herb Brooks. He did artwork back in the day, so I've got a cut autograph. So I've completed what I needed to.
Andy, have you completed anything? Or are you just hanging
I'm
on the
almost
edge of like
there,
10
I'm telling
sets?
you. No, when that whole excitement thing, I was just thinking was that when I hit a roadblock on that upper deck set, and I was like, all right, I'm desperate. I'm gonna try something new. And Mike Greenwell, who was also known never for signing TTM, even when he was with the Sox, and never ever did. So I said, screw it, I'm gonna try something new. So I sent them a priority envelope with $20 in it and both cards from the set. And literally a week later, I got my little envelope back. I opened it up, both cards signed, plus my $20. I was like,
wow.
that made me, I was like, all right, I got a new form of sending off to guys I never got before. So I went a little buck wild inside sending cash with priority envelopes just to make it official. So they actually open it and be like, oh, money, and screw it, I'll just sign. And it actually worked on a bunch of guys. A lot of guys kept the money, which I was perfectly fine with. A lot of guys I never heard back from, so I lost, $15-20 plus the cost of priority. But I was just trying a different form to get them. So
Totally.
And when I was getting those back, I was like, wow, this is actually working. And that one was the first one I ever did, and getting that one back so fast, I think it was like 8 days. I was overly thrilled. It was like a rare moment for me.
For real.
I don't get too excited when I get stuff in, but that was one of them.
Yeah, so I think we can come to the conclusion that set collecting is not necessarily about the money unless you're doing certifieds or a specific topic. It's more about the feeling you get when you get another addition to the set. And
no, it's just the challenge of finding people, getting them in, and just checking them off the checklist.
Yeah.
It also fills that gap when you're just sitting around and you're like, man, I just run out of ideas or people to send to. You're like, you know what? I'm gonna break that set out and start working on that again. And next thing you know, you start working on the set while you're building your celebrities or actors and actresses that you want to send to. You just
it's
work
great
on the set in the
supplemental
meantime.
content to your to your other stuff. Yeah, I agree. Okay, guys, we need to move on. We're running low on time here. We're going to move on to the case against nominations. So we have a list of 8 people here. We're going to limit it down to 2, and you guys will vote on who goes forward to be analyzed by us. They're TTMs at least. So for this week, we have Don Sutton, Whoopi Goldberg, Christopher Plummer, Charlie Daniels, George Foreman, Paige Van Zant, Tessa Thompson, and Mark Wahlberg. Who are we going to chop off first, guys? Any ideas who can go?
Whoopi.
You're knocking off Whoopi again. Okay.
Yeah, Whoopi's never going to make it.
I haven't seen a recent return from her. That's why
That's true. We haven't seen much. I might have to write to her just to get her on this on the show.
I think we should do some timely ones. If I'm gonna put in my first vote, I want to do Don Sutton because he's charging for autographs, and I know he's probably in a couple of the sets that people are working on. So
okay, I think that's a good one because he was our finalist last time. Does everybody agree on Sutton?
Oh, I'm ready for Sutton.
Okay,
I'm all prepared
I think that's a
for
good
this one.
Everybody's boned up for Sutton, so let's go ahead and put that one in. So
But like you said, I mean, he's charging. and you want to make sure. I mean, you're paying for a service, you're paying
Right.
for an autograph. You want to make sure it's legit.
Right. Totally understandable. Christopher Plummer, Charlie Daniels, George Foreman, Paige Van Zandt, Tessa Thompson, and Mark Wahlberg. Tessa Thompson would be timely. A lot of people are getting her back. Mark Wahlberg signed great for years. Be very interesting to see if all those are legit. I'm just naming off some of the top ones here.
The only tricky thing about Wahlberg, I don't think he has any certified stuff. I know he's done signings.
There's definitely IP stuff.
Yeah, there's one website that did a private signing, and they have video of him doing it, and they sell his items. I mean, that's the only thing you would compare it with.
Right. Well, half the time their certs are different than their TTMs anyway, because I don't know why, but they are.
Yeah.
What are you guys thinking? I feel like Tessa and Mark are the two strongest options. Christopher Plummer is another strong option.
I think we can take off Van Zandt just because I think with the more requests she's got, she just shortened her signature.
Hers has definitely changed.
Yeah, it's definitely changed, but I think it has to do with like volume.
We won't know, Chase, until we do a full investigation, my
So-
friend. I'll mark her off though. Okay, is everybody okay with that? So
we need to pick someone that we know is gonna stop signing as soon as we call them out.
Christopher
Like last
Plummer?
week with Tommy Lee. I mean,
Christopher Plummer. Yeah, so
we called
should
him
mention
out
that,
and he stopped
shouldn't we?
signing.
So literally, we recorded that segment. We record on Tuesdays, and literally 30 minutes after we got done talking about the case against Tommy Lee, he posted on his social media, "I'm done signing TTM." So I was like, wow, what a coincidence. Like, we just get done verifying your stuff right before the flood of mail from our podcast comes. You stop signing. What a coincidence. I think Christopher Plummer, Tessa, and Mark, I think those are the best options. Any preferences?
I think we have 3 people with recent returns from Tessa Thompson. Just saying.
Tessa?
I think it's definitely a toss-up between her and Wahlberg because I'm pretty sure everyone's got a Wahlberg.
Recent.
That's
Yeah,
true. Yeah. Wahlberg or Tessa? Tessa? We can throw
Tessa.
Wahlberg on the next list.
Yeah, we can go with her. I mean, I think we all 3 got her within the last month.
Are we talking about which Wahlberg? Donnie, Mark, or Paul?
Mark.
What was the last one?
Paul, it's the brother that's the chef on Wahlburgers.
Oh, yes. He's got to be secretarial. He's too famous. Okay, guys. So we're going to do Dawn Sutton and Tessa Thompson. So you guys can go to our Facebook page or Twitter and vote. Who do you want to see up in the case against Dawn Sutton or Tessa Thompson? Just vote on Facebook or Twitter, and our Facebook and Twitter links can be found at graphersaa.com. All right, let's move on to the giveaway winner. The giveaway winner for last week is Aiden Willis. Congratulations, Aiden. You won this beautiful Moises Alou hand-signed mini helmet, along with this this microscope that fits on your phone. Helps out with identifying printed signatures. So those will be coming to you ASAP. And we are actually giving away a month of Star Tiger this week. And we're also giving away another microscope for your phone. So the winner will receive a 1-month subscription of Star Tiger, thanks to Troy, and also a microscope for your phone. So to enter, again, go to graphersaa.com, click the giveaway tab, and answer this question. Do you have a goal-oriented collection? And if so, what is it? So we're looking for finite collections, but if you don't have a finite one, we will accept the others. So let's go ahead and move on to Fanatic Feedback.
Hello, this is Megan over at Megan TT Hobbies. I was just curious what the most interesting TTM request you have seen come back, whether for yourself or for others during this quarantine COVID-19 pandemic. Have a great day.
So, have you guys seen any cool returns from the COVID experience? I noticed, obviously, we thought there were going to be a shortage of returns, and that has not been the case. If anything, we've seen a boost in returns, and people signing that usually take a long time are catching up on their mail. But have you guys seen anything that was different with any returns?
So I don't think there's a specific person but what I've seen is older stuff coming back, and I've personally got stuff from 2 years ago that I've totally forgot about, and all of a sudden it just shows up. So I think people are catching up on their mail.
Anybody else see anything weird or something written in the letter that wasn't expected?
I actually did get one back. This is just was outside of the 3-week period. This is like mid-April. I got this back. Of course, it's from an adult film star. She signed the photo. There it is. School is cool. And she wrote, "David, ready to study." And then I always ask them in the letter with my index card, can they sign it and do like a lipstick kiss? And a lot of them do, But this is what she wrote. I'll read it. I'll just show it real quick. But she did sign it. But it says, "With the virus going around, I'm so sorry, but I'm going to have to decline your request for a kiss card. I hope you understand." And her name is Dillian Harper.
That makes sense.
It's the coolest thing I got. Yeah. She was willing to sign everything, and she did, which is awesome. She was willing to write the note, but she just wouldn't put her lips to the card, which, like she said, I completely understand. But that's the only one I've noticed.
That's a good one. I like that.
Yeah, like with Mike, I've gotten stuff that, like, the Tessa Thompson was over 400 days. I think it was like 430 or so, to getting back. And same with the last show, I had Frank White. His came back, and he was one that you don't see sign TTM a lot. So,
yeah,
and then my whole Paul Molitor saying that he's raising his prices to donate money for the COVID cause. Is what he says. So,
yep. We're gonna go ahead and move on to the next question.
One quick thing though.
Sure.
One thing that I found unusual. Now, I don't know if you saw it last weekend. Pete Rose did a signing in Cincinnati, and they showed pictures of him with full mask on, gloves, signing stuff, and they were actually auctioning off signed masks that he wore, or actually signed masks and gloves that he had for charity.
That's cool.
And he was signing balls pandemic 2020.
Oh, that's cool.
Which was a little bit different. I never seen, obviously
Dude,
never seen that before.
Yeah, he's so into the gimmicks that it's
he
crazy.
is. For him to actually fly to he doesn't pass on any signing. I mean, he signs every weekend. So to actually see him flying out there and just full like gear is kind of amusing to see.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to the next question, guys.
I'd like to know, when you do the giveaway each week, could you read some of the responses for that people submit? I know for last week's one, the one about specialties and what people collect, I would like to hear what people collect so I could use it as a possible idea of people that I could write to for TTMs. So that's what I was hoping maybe you could do. And anyway, thanks so much. You guys do a great show.
All right, and that was coming from John. And actually, yes, John, I got your back. I actually forgot to read the exactly what he requested. I forgot to read it for this week, but I'm going to go ahead and read both of those right now. So the one that you were interested in, we actually had a few answers. I have 2 PCs I do every year, Nobel Prize winners and Pulitzer Prize winners. Another one said, my favorite PC is baseball autographs. Another one said country music autographs. And the last one was Sports Illustrated magazines. So that's the one that you requested, John. And this week, Aiden said, my favorite art, this is favorite piece of signed art. My favorite piece of signed artwork is a D. Gordon signed photograph. Megan said a couple Dennis the Menace cartoon sketches from Marcus Hamilton that she received in the early to mid 1990s. Marvin said Mort Walker's sketch of Beetle Bailey. Victoria said a local artist who does graffiti style art. John said a large collection of Perez Steel sign cards, which are very popular with the baseball community, from Baseball Hall of Famers. And Ken said a signed Mike Tyson Punch Out digital artwork. So those were our responses for this week on the question. So I will implement that into the show, I promise. I forgot on this one, but hopefully I remember on the next show, and these guys will remind me if I don't. Okay, let's go ahead and move on to the last question.
Just watched your recent episode. Only one recommendation I have is when somebody is holding up a card or a picture of somebody, sometimes the image or the camera goes to another host on the show, and you don't get to see what the other person's holding up. For example, I think it was Chase that was holding up a baseball card. As soon as he put it up, the camera went to somebody else, and then by the time it went back to Chase, the card was already put down. I'd like to see the card maybe a little bit longer, or the photo or whatever he's talking about, just to see what it looks like. So it moved kind of quick, and that's the only recommendation I have. As far as your Tommy Lee review, definitely authentic. I met him in person a few years ago backstage when Motley Crue was touring with Aerosmith, and he signed 2 autographs, one for me and one for my son, and they were slightly different as well, but they looked exactly like the ones you were showing on the podcast. So 100% agree with you, definitely authentic. Keep up the good work. I'm still enjoying everything that you show and discuss, and find it very informative.
All right. And that's coming from Paul. And Paul, we actually implemented that recommendation during this episode. I don't know if you noticed, but we kept the multi-person view on during returns. So let us know if that works for you. There's another alternative that we could do, but it was a little more complicated. We decided to go with the easy option because we're lazy. Yeah, thanks for the recommendations, guys. If you guys have any recommendations or want to ask a question to the show, all you have to do is go to our website, graphersaa.com, click Fanatic Feedback, and record a question. You can do it on your PC if you have a microphone, or you can do it on your phone itself. It's very simple. Again, that's graphersaa.com. Let's move on to the Reaper Report as we wrap this show up. The Reaper Report are people that passed away in the last 2 weeks. This week, or this show, we have Irfan Khan, Sam Lloyd, Roy Horn of Siegfried and Roy, Little Richard, Don Shula, Betty Wright, Brian Howe, and Jerry Stiller. So that's a list of notable people that have passed away. Obviously, it's not a full list, but we have to cut it off somewhere. So there's that. Let's move on to promotions. Mike.
All right, I'm going to take my time to promote Dave over at House of 1,000 Collectibles. Thank you for joining us this week. I've bought stuff. He does live shows. They're fantastic, great deals on comic books, collectibles, autographs, and you buy stuff, and he usually does giveaways, so you got a chance to win some free stuff. So check out Dave over at House of 1,000 Collectibles. Andy Summers?
All right, you can check us out at Graphichusetts on, what are we on, Facebook. You can look me up on YouTube, and like I always promise, I will do a video someday. And I think that's it. I'm not around too much, so go ahead, Mr. Tony Troy.
Tony Troy, nice. Like all of us, you can find me at graphersaa.com. Also on all the social media networks, it's TTM Autograph, and I do have 3 autograph collecting secrets books that will be available on the website. If you're interested in an autographed copy, you can find those on my website. So
Congratulations, Troy. 2,500 subs on YouTube.
Oh yeah, good job.
It's amazing what happens when you don't post a video in a while. You just keep.
But yeah, definitely go
thanks,
check out
Mike.
Troy's book. Troy's actually, you've written 3 books at this point, right?
Yeah, working on a 4th.
Working on a 4th. So if you guys want some great reading material, just go to Amazon, type in Troy Rudder, and pick up his books, different genres of books even, and of course his autograph book, which I hold up as the best autograph book out there for the modern day collector. So
Andy's dog liked it too. So
okay, Chase.
Just like everyone else, or just about everyone else, I'm on YouTube, Instagram, Chase and Ink. I know last show I did a giveaway, and I'll take this quick time here that one person who listened to the podcast entered. So the winner is Eddie's baseball autographs. So I will contact you, Eddie, and give you your signed Scott Erickson card. So yeah, appreciate everybody listening, and I'll throw it back over to you guys.
Oh, poor Chase. Go subscribe to Chase. Give Chase some love, guys. Come on.
I gotta say, Chase, your Wednesday interview or
my Q&A Wednesday.
Yeah, those are awesome. So if you haven't seen that, definitely check out Chase's videos on that. So
yeah, definitely. I love his Q&A stuff too. I go down the playlist and just watch them all. Okay, Bloodspawn, promote your store.
All right, so you can find me. My name is David Stotler on Facebook. That's where I do all the live stuff from. House of 1,000 Collectibles. I have a likable page and a group for that, but I just seem to get more numbers from my personal page. So, but I always tag and share it. Like Mike said, thanks for the plug, Mike. I do autographs, big on comics, but I get some trading cards and stuff like that, Blu-rays, collectibles, pops, all kinds of stuff. And I still do have 700 and some YouTube videos under Bloodspawn 80. It's all still there. How-to videos, all my old mail days. And I, like Andy, I keep promising I'm going to start making videos again. I did a recap on a con that I went to about 6 months ago, and haven't done one since, but I do plan on doing those from now on. Not so much the mail days or anything like that anymore, but the recapping of the cons I really liked, and I got a lot of feedback off of. So I want to get back into that under Bloodspawn 80 as well.
Perfect. And we'll have those links for your store and your social media down below in the description. So if you guys are interested in that, that'll be there in the podcast notes, also on the YouTube video directly under what you're watching.
And if you guys do some, sorry to interrupt, but if you guys do some real digging on YouTube, I don't know if you can find these two fat guys dancing. They're classic videos. I'm just saying.
I think it's on our channel, actually. If you dig down deep into this channel, I believe it's on the Autograph. It used to be the Autograph Weekly channel, but now it's Autographers Anonymous.
Just wanted to put that out there.
Yeah, you can dig on
it
this
popped
channel.
up on my to watch videos a couple weeks ago. So.
Yeah. So
Mr. Savage.
nice.
If you guys want to see me and Bloodspawn break it down, that is available on YouTube.
Gangnam Style.
For me, yeah, Gangnam Style. For me, just go check out Bargain History at bargainhistory.com for some autographs and collectibles, and Fabric Fobs on Etsy at fabricfobs.com, little pieces of celebrity clothing and keychains. And that's all I got for today. So you take care, all of you autograph addicts.